and welcome to Dreamy Sleep Tales. Tonight, prepare to journey beyond the walls of darkness and discover a world where hope can reshape the very heavens. In our story, a young dreamer named Kael follows a mysterious compass through forbidden deserts, starlit guardians, and ancient domes, all in a daring quest to free the lost sky and remind humanity of its power to believe. So snuggle in, close your eyes, and let your imagination soar as the sky below unfolds. In the ancient city of Luminara, nights were nothing but an endless curtain of black. No moon ascended its throne above the rooftops. No constellations danced in the heavens. Citizens moved beneath artificial lamps, their eyes trained to never look upward. Legends spoke of a time when the sky was alive, but such stories were deemed myths. Dangerous fables that might awaken wishful thinking. Yet, 12-year-old Kael did nothing but think of stars. Each night, he slipped from his bed, climbed the iron fire escape behind his cramped apartment, and pressed his palms against the window of the old observatory, now a locked ruin of cobwebs and broken glass. In his dreams, violet nebulae bloomed like flowers, and he heard a whisper, soft as moonlight, "Come find me." This yearning set him apart. While other children raced through neon-lit streets, Kael studied forbidden books salvaged from a hidden shelf in his grandfather's cottage. He traced diagrams of star maps, practiced ancient songs meant to call the night down, and sketched the shape of the sun he'd never seen. One sweltering afternoon, when the city's generators hummed hotter than ever, Kael discovered something extraordinary. Beneath a dune of dusty tomes in his grandfather's attic lay a curious artifact, a silver compass whose needle spun erratically. At its heart was a gemstone carved into the shape of a crescent sky. When Kael lifted it, the gem pulsed with soft luminescence, and the needle snapped still, pointing upward. His heart thundered. Every instruction he had ever read spoke of such relics. Compasses made by the old order to guide dreamers back to the true sky. They were said to reveal the path to the lost dome that once contained the heavens. No one believed those domes ever existed, except Kael. That night, under the flicker of a single oil lamp, Kael packed a small satchel with a loaf of bread, a water skin, and his grandfather's locket. Inside, a faded portrait of two people laughing under a starry sky. He placed the compass in his coat pocket, feeling its warmth against his chest. With a final glance at the silent streets of Luminara, he slipped out into the shadowed alleyway. Moonless darkness cloaked the city as Kael walked toward the desert's edge. The compass guided him past the iron gates that marked the boundary of forbidden lands. Though the city's guards patrolled diligently, they never dreamed a boy might seek the sky itself. Beyond the walls lay a vast wasteland of cracked earth and drifting sand. The world seemed to have given up on color, only shades of tan and rust as far as Kael could see. His compass glowed faintly, as if urging him onward. Hours passed, and fatigue tugged at his limbs. Just when he thought he might collapse beneath the weight of silence, a soft, melodic hoot echoed across the dunes. "Who goes there?" croaked a voice that shimmered like stardust. Kael froze. Before him hovered an owl, its feathers woven from silver light and cosmic dust. Its eyes were twin galaxies, deep and endless. "My name is Kael," he whispered. I follow the compass." The owl fluttered closer, wings stirring motes of light in the air. "Few have courage to listen," it said. "Most fear what lies above." "Then help me," Kael pleaded. "I must restore the sky." The owl regarded him for a long moment, then dipped its head. "Very well. I am Asterix, guardian of the dreaming path. Come, and do not lose faith. The world below has forgotten how to hope." With that, Asterix soared ahead, glowing softly against the darkness. Kael hurried to keep pace, the compass pulsing brighter with each step. Together, they crossed the desert under a sky that promised ruin and perhaps salvation. By dawn's pale light, they reached the Hinterfall Hills, jagged ridges of black rock that cut into the sky like the teeth of a broken crown. At the hill's base lay a monolithic door carved into obsidian, etched with runes that pulsed faintly in the compass's glow. "Here lies the threshold," Asterix murmured. "Beyond these doors dwells the world between, where shards of the old sky remain." Kael placed his hand on the cold surface. The runes flared to life, and the heavy doors groaned open, revealing a cavern suffused with pale starlight, suspended in floating pools of shimmering mist. Orbs of glass, star fragments, hovered motionless. The air hummed with memory. As long as one soul remembers the sky, Asterix said, these fragments endure, but they grow weaker. Soon they will vanish. Kael stepped forward, entranced by the dancing lights. Each fragment whispered a fragment of a song, a lullaby a mother once sang, a cry of wonder from an explorer who first gazed at the Milky Way, a lover's promise made under a falling star. He reached out to touch one orb. Instantly, a rush of images flooded his mind. Blazing comets, orchards bathed in soft twilight. The tender curve of a young woman's smile beneath sapphire skies. Startled, Kael recoiled. A piece of your soul, Asterix explained softly. Each song you gather binds you to that moment and dims your own memory in return. Kael steadied himself, heart pounding. He realized this quest demanded more than courage. It demanded sacrifice. Yet, he could not turn back. Not now. He closed his eyes, inhaled deeply, and let his hand brush against the nearest orb. The first fragment's memory settled in Kael's mind like a warm ember. He saw himself years ago cradling a wounded sparrow under a sky alive with streaking lights. Joy and ache mingled in his chest. He staggered, breath trembling. Astrax alighted beside him, soft feathers brushing his shoulder. "You have tasted the past," it said. "Now you understand why the sky must be free." Kael nodded, pressing a hand to his chest as if holding his thundering heart in place. What's next? Astrax's eyes glimmered. Ahead lies the Valley of Whispers. There, the compass will guide you to the second door. But be warned. The land itself remembers your fear. They stepped through the cavern's exit and into a vast valley shrouded in half shadow. Ghostly voices drifted on the wind, echoes of doubt, regret, and sorrow. Each whisper was a temptation to turn back, to surrender the quest for peace. Kael's compass needle spun wildly, then steadied toward a distant hill crowned with crumbling pillars. With Asterix close behind, he trudged forward, ears ringing with voices that tried to undo him. "Why bother?" whispered one voice, rasping like dry leaves. "Who cares about stars?" hissed another, cold as iron. "Let the sky remain hidden," a third urged, "and stay where it's safe." Each word threatened to unravel Kael's resolve. He closed his eyes, gripped the compass tight, and recited under his breath the songs he'd learned. The ancient lullabies meant to summon starlight. The melodies wove around him like gentle chains, anchoring his spirit. When he opened his eyes, Asterix watched with pride. "Your heart is strong," the owl said softly. "Let us move on." Atop the hill, they found the second door, a weathered arch of woven branches and silver filigree. On its keystone lay a sapphire orb, swirling with stormy clouds and distant lightning. Beyond it, Kael glimpsed the outline of an inverted sky dome suspended in mist. He reached for the orb, knowing the cost. As his fingers closed around it, a fresh rush of memories seized him. His mother's lullabies beneath a painted ceiling of stars, his grandfather's stories by candlelight. The first time he'd laughed and chased fireflies across a summer meadow. Pain and beauty entwined. Kael's vision blurred with tears. He swallowed hard, determined. With a surge of will, he lifted the orb from its resting place. The arch trembled and crumbled, scattering petals of silver light. The doors to the world between sealed behind him, and the compass glowed brighter than ever. Kael felt a hollow ache where his memories had been, but his purpose burned anew. The waystone, a slender, obelisk-like structure carved from pale crystal, rose before them. It hummed with low, resonant tones, and mid-air projections of long-lost skylines shimmered around it. This was the city of glass shadows, a projection of the world as it once was. Towering spires piercing lavender skies, bridges spun from light. Asterix alighted on the Waystone's summit. "Here, you must remember to keep your own story alive. The city will tempt you with visions of a perfect past you never truly lived." Kael swallowed, staring at the phantom city. He saw a version of himself free from fear, confident, laughing, gazing up at the real sky. He saw people he loved alive in this illusion. His heart ached for those he'd lost. A door made of fractured mirrors opened at the waystone's base. Each shard reflected a memory Kael had traded away. His first snowfall, the scent of rain on warm earth, laughter beneath real stars. The illusions called to him, "Come home, relive your happiest moments." Kael faltered, stepping toward the mirrors. Asterix flared its wings. "Don't look back, Kael. Your story is not here." Kael closed his eyes and forced himself onward, reciting the lullaby of dawn, a song of morning light that mother used to hum. As he spoke, the mirrors cracked and dissolved into motes of dust, carried away by an invisible breeze. At the waystone's heart lay the third orb, a piece of sky so pure it seemed carved from dawn's first breath. Kael reached for it, closing his eyes against the pain. Once more, he surrendered a cherished memory, his laughter beneath starlight, so another song could live again. When he opened his eyes, the city of glass shadows faded into mist. The compass now shone with 3 points of light, marking his progress. Only one orb remained to retrieve before the final reckoning. Beyond the city's edge, the landscape leveled into a wide plain of billowing mist. Kael and Asterix emerged at the foot of a towering glass dome, its surface etched with cosmic patterns, veins of light snaking across its curvature. The dome of upside-down heaven. Below its underside hung the stolen sky, inverted and imprisoned, a dazzling riot of colors and constellations pressed against the smooth glass. Inside, the stars shone as though viewed from within a giant crystalline shell. "This is where the ancient order ensnared the sky," Asterix whispered. Their fear of chaos led them to believe that imprisoning the heavens would keep them safe. But they forgot. The sky belongs to all. Kael's compass pulsed urgently. "How do I free it?" "The dome's heart is a crystalline fortress," Asterix replied. "Only one uncorrupted by fear can break the surface from within. To enter, you must sacrifice your final memory, your own clear recollection of the sky." Kael's throat tightened. He closed his eyes and summoned the memory of the sky as he'd imagined it. Vast, silent, infinite. unburdened by pain or regret. He let that dream slip away, emptying his heart of all visions of dawn and starlight. When he opened his eyes, the compass glowed white hot, pointing directly at a small hatch high on the dome's surface. Asterix flew upward, pushed open the hatch with its wings, and signaled Kael to climb. Inside, the dome's interior was silent but ablaze with refracted light. The stars above seemed close enough to touch, their glow bathing Kael in warmth. He climbed onto a narrow ledge that ran around the dome's equator, guided by the compass's glow. At the zenith, Kael found the heart chamber, a crystalline prism anchoring the sky's fragment. It pulsed with the rhythm of starlight. Taking a trembling breath, Kael placed his hands on the prism's surface. His mind went blank. No images, no whispers, only a sense of boundless calm. The prism cracked, then shattered in a cascade of brilliant shards. A shock wave of light radiated outward, spilling through the hatch and across the plain. Kael felt himself lifted on a wave of brilliance, then dropped gently onto the misty ground. The dome's glass walls fell away like petals, revealing the true sky above, vast and whole. Kael blinked against the radiant light as the heavens above him unfurled in unfettered glory. The sky, once a distant dream, now stretched endlessly in hues of violet and gold, sprinkled with sparkling constellations. A soft breeze carried the scent of blossoms he had never smelled, yet somehow recognized. Astrax descended to perch on Kael's shoulder. "You have done it," the starlit owl whispered. "The sky is free." Around them, the lands began to stir. Motes of light drifted skyward, drawing the gaze of a world unused to wonder. Far off on the distant horizon, Kael saw Luminara's silhouette, its towers popping into relief against the morning glow. The city's domed barrier had vanished like a broken shell. Tremors ran through the plains, first gentle, then strong enough to rattle Kael's knees. The ground cracked and shuddered, freeing buried seeds that sprouted instantly as wildflowers of every color carpeted the earth. This was the land remembering joy. Yet, a lingering chord of uncertainty tugged at Kael's heart. He had emptied himself of every memory of the sky, sacrificing his most precious visions. Would he remember why he'd undertaken this quest? He closed his eyes, reaching inward. There, at the very core of his being, he felt a faint ember, a glow, shaped like hope. It pulsed in time with the rising sun. Though the detailed memories had gone, the essence remained. The yearning for the sky, the belief that wonder was worth any price. Kael opened his eyes to see the world transformed. Asterix's form shifted, becoming more luminous than before, as if empowered by the restored heavens. "Your sacrifice was great," it said, "but true remembrance lives in the heart, not in images." In the distance, a ripple of movement caught Kael's eye. Figures emerged from the city gates. Curious townsfolk, their faces pale with shock, then widening in awe as they gazed upward. Children pointed at the twinkling constellations. Elders wiped tears from their cheeks, recalling faint memories of stars. Kael felt a warmth spread through him, pride, relief, and a gentle joy. This was the moment he dreamed of his whole life. As the sun climbed, Kael led Asterix back toward Luminara. The city lay quiet, its citizens still stunned by the return of daylight's natural cycle. The dreaded artificial lamps flickered and died, replaced by shafts of true sunlight that painted warm patterns on stone streets. Kael paused at the city gates. Soldiers stood guard, eyes wide with bewilderment. One stepped forward, lowering his weapon. "Child," he stammered. "What? How did you?" Kael reached into his pocket and pulled out the silver compass. Its gemstone now glowed softly, as if content. "This guided me," Kael said simply. But it was belief, our willingness to hope, that freed the sky. Murmurs rippled through the gathered crowd. The mayor, an aged woman named Seraphine, approached with tears glinting in her eyes. "You have given us back our home," she said. "We owe you everything." Kael shrugged, cheeks flushing. "I only did what I felt in my heart." Seraphine nodded solemnly. "Then let us honor that heart. From this day, we establish a new order, the Dreamers. We will teach our children to look upward, to sing the old songs, to remember why we must never hide our sky again." A cheer rose from the crowd. Kael realized that his journey had done more than restore the heavens. It had restored something in every soul present. Weeks passed, and Luminara transformed in harmony with the returning sky. Gardens bloomed where workshops had once stood. The old observatory's broken windows were replaced with stained glass depicting constellations. Every evening, families gathered to gaze at the stars, sharing stories and songs. Kael often climbed to the observatory's roof, standing beneath his reclaimed dream. At his side, Asterix watched the heavens with him. Luminous wings folded neatly. One dusk, Kael unfolded a new parchment and began sketching a star map unlike any before. The constellations of Luminara's people, charted by those who felt their stories mirrored in the stars. Below each drawing, he wrote a line of verse, an homage to memory, sacrifice, and wonder. Astrax perched on his shoulder, head tilting. "You remember now," the owl whispered gently. Kael smiled, placing a hand over his heart where the ember still glowed. "I never forgot," he said. "The sky is more than pictures in my mind. It lives in every heartbeat, every dream, in all of us." The owl's eyes shimmered approvingly. "And so, the sky below becomes the sky within." Kael gazed up at the heavens as the first star blinked awake. In its light, he saw not only the past, but the promise of tomorrow, endless, unending, and bound forever by the dreams of one courageous boy. Kael awoke one morning to an unusual quiet. The sky, once vibrant with dawn's soft gradient, hung pale and washed out. A thin veil of grey clouds drifted silently, as though the heavens themselves had grown tired. At the observatory rooftop, Kael and Asterix watched the horizon uneasy. Below, the city stirred uneasily. Children accustomed to morning stargazing peered at the dim sky and shrugged. Workers lit lamps long before the sun's rays reached the streets. The dreamers gathered in whispered clusters, eyes upward, murmuring questions Kael did not yet have answers for. Astrax hovered low. "The sky weakens," it said. "Our work is not done. A seed of doubt has sprouted in many hearts." Kael felt a familiar ache. He realized that freeing the sky was only the beginning. Its survival depended on the world's belief. If the people wavered, the sky's brilliance would fade once more. He strode toward the grand plaza where the dreamers met each day. Seraphine stood at the podium, flanked by city council members. As Kael approached, the murmurs quieted. "The sky changes," Seraphine announced. "We do not know why. We must stand together in hope, not fear." A cheer met her words, but Kael saw hesitation in their eyes. The same hesitation he had once faced in the Valley of Whispers. That afternoon, Kael convened the dreamers in the newly rebuilt observatory. "We must rekindle our songs," he told them. "Share our stories, our dreams. Let the sky feel our joy once more." Under Kael's guidance, the dreamers composed new verses celebrating everyday wonders. The burst of laughter between friends, the hush of snow falling, the awe of a child seeing light's first sparkle. They practiced under clouded skies, their voices weaving a tapestry of human hope that rose to meet the heavens. Days passed. The grey veil slowly lifted as song and story spread through Luminara streets. Windows opened to let in light. Families gathered to reminisce. Poets penned verses of wonder in alleyways. Bit by bit, the sky's color deepened until one evening, the first star appeared, tentative but unwavering. Kael watched the star blink awake and smiled. He understood now that the sky lived in every heart willing to remember, and that guardianship of wonder was an endless task. News of Luminara's restored sky spread across the lands. Pilgrims from distant towns traveled under windy roads to witness the phenomenon. Some came as skeptics, expecting a trick of light. Others arrived as nostalgic dreamers longing for a taste of long-lost magic. Kael organized the Pilgrimage of Light, a ceremonial journey from Luminara to the ancient hill where he'd first discovered the compass. Along the path, dreamers lit lanterns made of stained glass, each pane etched with a memory restored to the world. Astrax guided the procession, its starlit wings marking the route. As the pilgrims passed, they paused to share their own stories. The baker who remembered the comfort of warm bread at dawn. The teacher who recalled the wonder in a child's eyes at their first lesson. The soldier who dreamt of peace between neighbors. When they reached the dune outside the city, today called the Hill of Becoming, Kael climbed to the summit and raised the silver compass high. Its gem caught the rising sun, scattering prisms of light across the crowd. "This compass," Kael announced, voice carrying on the wind, "once led me to free the sky. But it belongs to all who believe in wonder." He handed the compass to Seraphine, who passed it to the eldest dreamer, who passed it to the youngest child present. Laughter and cheers filled the air as the compass glowed, symbolizing hope's continuity between past and future. Under the restored sky, the pilgrims danced and sang until the stars claimed the night. Kael joined them, knowing he had helped kindle not just a return of light above, but a turning of hearts within. Years later, Kael's hair bore strokes of silver, and his laughter carried the depth of lived seasons. The order of dreamers flourished. Observatories dotted the world. Dream libraries preserved stories old and new, and festivals of light became annual celebrations. Kael often visited the Hill of Becoming. One evening, as he sat carving constellations into a wooden tablet, a young woman approached, holding a satchel of seeds. Her eyes were bright with curiosity, the same spark Kael once bore. "Master Dreamer," she said, kneeling, "I've come to fulfill a promise." From her satchel, she produced tiny bulbs of pale blue. "These are sky blooms. They only grow under true stars. Will you plant them with me?" Kael's heart swelled. He accepted a bulb and dug a small hole in the hill's soft earth. As he nestled the bulb into place, a breeze carried the scent of unopened petals. "One seed for every star," the woman said softly. Together, they planted row after row until the hill was dotted with pale bulbs waiting for night. When dusk fell, Kael stood and watched the first buds open. Luminescent flowers that mirrored constellations above. They glowed with a gentle light, bathing the hill in cosmic bloom. Pilgrims who came to the Hill of Becoming henceforth planted their own sky blooms, so that even beneath the clearest skies, people would remember the stars always needed tending. On the eve of the century's turning, a great festival convened at Luminara. Dreamers from vast domains gathered under an ocean of stars to celebrate the 100th year since the sky's return. Kael, now an elder of the order, was named Grand Storyteller. As the moon ascended, Kael took his place atop the observatory spire. Below him, the city lay softened by lantern light, a tapestry of human hope woven into every street. He opened his mouth to speak, but the night was still. Even the wind paused in anticipation. I once believed the sky belonged to the heavens, Kael began, voice resonant. But now I know it belongs to every memory we guard, every song we share, every dream we dare to dream. He raised the silver compass, now dulled by time but ever radiant in its purpose. I pass this to you, the dreamers of tomorrow. Guard it with your hearts. Let no fear trap the sky again. A hush fell, then a single voice sang the ancient lullaby that first called Kael to his quest. Another joined in, then another, until a chorus of thousands filled the air. The stars above pulsed in time with the song, a silent echo that rippled through the cosmos. In that moment, Kael knew his story would never truly end. As long as dreamers lived, the sky would endure. Long after Kael's voice faded from memory, the world he helped shape continued to flourish under starlit skies. In homes, in schools, in city squares, the legacy of the dreamers thrived, an eternal testament to the power of belief. And on nights when the wind was gentle and the stars particularly bright, some would swear they saw a lone figure on the hill of becoming, gazing up with a quiet smile. They said he carried a compass made of silver and sky, reminding them that wonder is both gift and duty, and that the true sky lives within every heart willing to remember. And with that, our journey beneath the clouds and into the heart of wonder comes to a close. May Kael's courage remind you that no dream is too distant and no star too faint to guide you home. If you enjoyed this tale, please like the video, subscribe to Dreamy Sleep Tales, and share it with everyone who loves a little magic before bedtime. We'd also love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments what topic you'd like our next video to explore. Until next time, keep gazing upward, keep believing, and sleep well, dreamer. Good night.